Welcome back, everybody who's about to see this. Am I live yet? Okay, now I'm live. Let's see. Well, no one's in yet because I just started, but I actually had a very productive conversation with XL2 on the archival footage for last week's stream. So actually, if you go over to the YouTube channel, it should be linked in the Discord. Actually, no, it's not. Oh, let me fix that right now. So I have a YouTube channel where I push all these streams to after I'm done with them. And if I can just switch over to it, just link it up, I can go find out, try to find that conversation out of XL2 concerning something called backface culling. So this is something I'm just learning about now. Essentially, the way I understand it is that you could selectively render portions of the geometry. So say you would want to say you're looking at a cube face on from like a 45-degree angle, so you see the top face, you see the left face, you see the right face. You don't see the bottom face and the back two faces, but you don't really need to, so why bother drawing it? So, essentially, there should be a macro in the Sega Graphics library, otherwise known as SGL, that should be able to just turn off the rendering of those things you wouldn't have seen anyway. So, what that should do is that should drastically increase my potential object count, and that's like I mentioned before. That's just one of the what do you call it? One of the optimizations I could be doing. So I just modified the description panel on my Twitch to reflect the YouTube channel, so you can go and see. And let me go ahead and just reference real quick this conversation I had with XL2. Essentially, I should be able to run a macro that has a single plane or a dual plane mode. Dual plane meaning no culling, it's showing everything, even if you're looking from the back of the polygon. Essentially, how it makes the decision is the polygon has an orientation, a front face and a back face. And if you're looking at the front face, it renders it. If you're looking at the back face, it doesn't. Dual plane means you're rendering both planes, both the front and the back. Single plane means you're only rendering the front plane, the one you're supposed to see anyway. So let's say you put the camera behind a wall. If the camera is behind a wall, you don't really need to be rendering the wall because then you can't see anything in the room. It's it would just get in the way, so you just don't render the back of that wall. The wall is essentially like one square, one plane, one rectangle, what have you. One object, or one planar surface, sorry, and you turn off the rendering for that because you're looking in from the wrong direction. I need to add in some stuff to that comment section. Let me see. So let's go ahead and take a look at the documentation real quick, just to see if we can't get that get that optimization up and running. Oh, those are my files. Where's the documentation? There we go. And there should be SGL prototypes. So this is essentially the stand-in for the SGL library that would normally be linked, well, not linked to, but normally be used by Sega. So if we actually go look up the SGL manual for Sega, let me see. I'll leave this link in the Discord chat room, and then obviously on YouTube whenever I put a link up on not Discord, Twitch. The Twitch chat will have this this documentation link, and on YouTube the description will also have that link. This has the instruction manual and some technical specifications, not just for the Sega Graphics library, but also for the various processors that I'm always complaining about. VDP1, VDP2, the two graphics video display processors. VDP, video display processor. I haven't had time to really look over all this stuff. I plan to either later tonight when I'm done with the stream, or probably sometime tomorrow. just to see what I can do. In the meantime, we're looking for, according to XL2's advice, a macro that would allow me to turn on backface culling and get into single plane operation, or single plane rendering. So first I'm going to look through all these macros and see if there's a dual plane, single plane, or backface culling, something that looks along those lines. So I'm seeing a bunch of error stuff. Mission. Ideally, I should just be able to just run one of these macros and be done with it. I'm not sure that that I'm going to be able to just use one of these. Oh, these are just enumerated types. Oh, here we go. Functions. Maybe some of these guys will do it. Scale, window. Let's see. Maybe looking through these one at a time. That's probably not going to be very. Let me see if I can just find plane. So we have enumerated type, single plane, and dual plane. So somewhere they're utilized. There we go. What's this? SL single plane BG takes in an unsigned integer, 16-bit. Let's Huh. Well, let's just go in blind and see what happens when we try to implement this. So, where do we want to stick this in? We want to stick this into the after the core initialization. So let's just put in single plane mode. Turn on, and let's hope, because this function does not look like it has any documentation attached to it. It's literally just a declaration for a function. I'm assuming that if we look in the let me see, if there is an SGL, the SGL manual, maybe they'll have a similar function here. SGL developer manual reference. Okay, so let's look in that. And let's try to find something that looks like, what is that? We're looking at, I think, this guy. SL plane NBG1. So let's try SL plane NBG0. There we go. So here is the actual documentation from Sega themselves. This is what they used. So here is the equivalent function that they had. SL plane NBG1. So I need to figure out what NBG plane. Okay, so this is just a size setting. So maybe it might do me a little bit more good to look through this documentation as opposed to Johannes's, because, well, you know, he's got the prototype set up, but I think he's expecting us to assume that it's a complete clone. So let's try single. There we go. Single plane. So how do we... Oops. How do we go about making one of these guys? Or implementing it? So yeah, we want whatever... the plane attribute of what? Is there just an SGL attribute that we can just set? Single plane is an enumerated type, I believe. Well, it's enumerated slightly differently. I think he's fixed a spelling error here in the documentation. So if we look at this, where is it? There, enumerated. So here's enumerated PLN, single plane, dual plane. We should be able to go into an attribute. Where are the attributes? Okay. ATTR. Flagged, yeah. Now one of these guys has to call a plane so that we can use that enumerated plane. So let's find it first. Okay. Let's go back and find that. Okay, so your single plane enumerated PLM. So PLN Only shows up these two places. But this documentation says it's an attribute, and the attribute of the plane should be switched over to single plane. So let's first off, let's attempt to call one of these attributes and display it on the screen just so we can check it. Like this is my lazy debug that I'm doing. So let's try attribute ATRB. I mean, do any of these other guys have anything resembling the plane display or plane polygon? There's the prototype for the polygon, prototype for textures. Let's just try attribute and just display everything about attribute and see if one of these guys will do it. I'm not sure if this is the same thing as this. So we have plane, sort, texture, color, Gerard, or I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm sorry. Mode, directory, or no, direction, sorry, and option. And here we have, where are we? Attribute, column number, I suppose, directory flag, GSTB, sort, text number. I don't think this is the right one. We got to find out which one it is and address it. If I go and reference, let me just drag it on screen so maybe you guys can see it. This conversation I had on YouTube with XL2, he brings up P data. So P data, okay, I knew I was forgetting something. So let's try P data. There it is. Oh, I'm staring right at it, right here. P data. So P data, let's look at the documentation, see if there's a P data that we can find. Nope. Okay, so this is going to be... Oh, there we go. P data. Polygon model data. So the structure defines polygon model data as a point, polygon, unsigned integer, and an attribute, ATTB1. So, but if we look up what an ATTR is, that's there we go, that's a face attribute. Does it have something that designates, defines a polygon face attributes? See, I'm trying to figure this out on the fly, and it's actually kind of difficult to sort through what Sega is saying, what Johannes is saying, what XL2 is saying, but they all agree somewhere, and that's where I need to find out. So keep in mind that we're paying attention to this attribute, ATTR, as part of P data, polygon model data, to see if we can't get single plane rendering, or single face rendering, single plane rendering, yeah. So let's see. For faces, faceless pointer, number of vertices. Okay, what did XL2 actually say? Let's see. So ATTB1, or L, no, yeah, it's ATTB1 dot flag. Actually, over here, we go in Joe Engine, their version has ATTBL as opposed to ATTB1. And then that ATTR, enumerated type, should have a flag. There, this flag, front back setting. So I believe that flag is what sets off whether or not we have the single plane. Because XL2 is advising me to remove the headaches by just using single plane as the macro. Well, let's just use that first. Let's copy his line here. So if you're not seeing it, I'm copying this line from oh crap. You don't need to see my recommended videos. I'm copying this line that XL2 is advising me to use into this kind kind of initial... Oh, seriously? So let's copy that in. And see if that is even a... Whoops. Okay. So I am almost certain that this won't compile, because this is definitely not a function. Yeah, that's what I thought. All object 0 is not a... Yeah, I didn't think this was a function, but as a macro, I don't know if I can just call it just like that. My god, I can? No, I can't. Oh. No, that's just Sigwin being stupid. There we are. So, now we'll know if we did anything by, well, we'll just... we'll put down a whole bunch of objects, and we'll see if that'll end up lowering the frame rate. I need to change this frame number to a frame rate calculator. There is a time library in JO Engine. I can already see this thing slowing down. I'm not sure if it's doing the thing I want it to do. If I back off, it looks like it's displaying every single polygon. At least it's reporting that it is. Which means it's whatever I did, it's not doing it. Well, let's go back in, and that was a shot in the dark anyway. What we're actually going to have to do is we're going to have to sort through this JO Engine attribute. So we're going to do pdata dot or arrow. It might be arrow or dot. I'm not even sure anymore. I think let's go with arrow. Because I always get confused with the pointer language. So we got pdata, arrow. We're calling this attribute, and we're flipping this flag. So we'll do dot. Okay, arrow flag. Let's I think 0. It's an unsigned integer, right? Yeah. So 0 and 1 should be the first two valid values. I don't know what goes beyond 0 and 1 besides single and dual plane. I assume that's all it's going to be able to do. So let's see if this even compiles, because this is probably... Let me see. Yeah, that's what I figured. I think I need a dot. Syntax token. Oh, I should save before I compile. That would make sense. Okay, so how do I even call pdata? That's the thing. Oh, okay, pdata is a struct. Where is it declared? So we have a pdata. How do we play with it? So there should be a pdata that's declared, like it's like XL2 said, is like a my or your pdata, something that gets called and created when you initialize the engine. I don't know how it go about without properly knowing how to use a debugger, which I don't, and I probably don't have time to learn on stream. But somewhere in this documentation, it should explain where it's being declared, and if not, we can go in the, brute force it, literally go into the engine and find out for ourselves. So where's our SGL? Let's see, backup audio. Oh, it's got to be a header. There we go. SGL prototypes. Oops, I don't want to go back to code blocks. It looked ugly. Oh. Let's go back in to Notepad. Let me just change how that does that. I have no... Okay, well... Huh. Okay, let's just open it up in Notepad and I'll fix that later. There we go. Copyright whatevers. Define. I think this is literally just a copy because you got Japanese comments in here. It's kind of funny, actually. These are all enumerated. And then finding structs, enumeration. But where is anything actually initialized? I want to see an initialization. It's probably going to be near the bottom, I guess. So let's look for a P data. Okay, so that struct P data has been defined. Where is it initialized? Is it initialized? It's called here, so it's implying that it's going to know where it is. Maybe, well, let's try here real quick. I know I had a feeling here. And no, these are all definitions and memory locations, and I'm not even going to come close to touching those. Screw that. Let's go back into the engine. Core. So there's core and some other places I want to look for. So let's see. Not here, not here, not here, not here. Okay, so the two places I'm going to think of looking are core, config, or whatever that is. And there should be just a JO. There we go. And that's the main include statement. So this thing includes everything, and this is what I include at the beginning of the program to actually utilize the engine up here. And this will implicitly, you know, just include everything here that I'm going to use. And then, let's see, big, don't touch this file. Well, I'm not planning on it. Oh, those are just, okay. Obviously, you don't want to touch those. I'm looking for a declaration of the P data. Can't find it. I'm gonna trust. I'm gonna have to trust XL2's intuition and say that P data. My God. Okay, there's not even a P data in this file. SGL prototypes P data shows up as a declaration of a struct and whatever polygon is as an argument. See, I don't even know where this goes to. What are the include statements on this header? Maybe that'll tell me where to look. There are no include statements on this header. Okay, let's try this way. Oops, no, I still want to be in there. Let us try your P data, all lowercase, and see if that'll do the job. So where did I put it? There we go. Because maybe it doesn't even exist. I don't know. Undeclared. Okay, your P data is undeclared. Let's try my P data. Also undeclared. Let's just try P data, all lowercase. Undeclared. And then all caps, P data. Empty body and an if state. Okay, but we can ignore that. Syntax error before dot token. So this is implying that P data actually exists because it's not saying it's undeclared. But I can't call things that it owns. Yusef, please don't watch while driving. That's not safe. Also, shouldn't you also be streaming right now? I don't know. Wait, how are you typing that while driving? That's even worse. Anyway, I'm getting close to giving up on this. This is obviously going to be me reading a lot and going through the documentation. So let's comment this out, and we'll say beg XL2 for help on this one. XL2 slash Johannes. So I'm just going to go on the forums and grovel. So we're going to chalk that one up to a fail, because I know that's not going to be figured out tonight without a lot of trial and error or a lot of reading, and nobody wants to see that. What I did promise this time around was, hitboxes. So let's actually do that. Let's make some hitboxes. What I want to do is I'm going to make a player hitbox first, just to kind of give myself some boundaries. And then I'm going to make a... crap, I keep losing my train of thought. I'm going to make a player hitbox, and then I'm going to make the object hitbox for just the boxes. I know I said I'd have different textures this time around. I screwed that up in multiple ways, actually. First off, if we go over to my files, I'll show that I made... This is my first time using Photoshop, and I made this texture. This is actually the inner portion of the texture I made. There should be like some boundaries and some other decorations on top of it. I accidentally saved the layer as the TGA, and also, I think I did not save the TGA correctly. I think I need to use one of the conversion tools available on JO Engine to do this. When I try to import this into the engine, it will straight up give me a failure. It won't be able to read the file, and I think it's because the encoding is wrong, and it needs to be imported correctly and converted into the proper encoding. So, oversight on my part. I tried to do some prep, and I didn't do it right. I should have tested it before I started. I don't want to do too much coding away from the stream, because I want this to be like an active journal of me trying and failing. Because not everything can be a success like the last two streams. This is probably going to be the first real failure stream. But we're just going to go back and use the boxes. But on top of the boxes, which are taken from Johannes's sample set, we have some grids, which I'm going to try and use as a floor. This guy, which I'm not even sure if that can be legally used. I'm pretty sure that's Super Mario Brothers, but, you know, whatever. And this won't work. See, now I'm thinking, like, they have the same bit depth and everything, so I must have screwed up somewhere else. I don't know. Okay. Well, back to the engine. We're still using that box. You can see here under the template, it's just box.tga. As soon as I figure out how to convert the texture properly, it's going to be something else.tga. Let me see if I can add a an else if statement here. Else if, and then well, let's. What's the floor going to be called? We're just going to prep this for later, but let's call the floor mesh floor 1, and the name of the texture is just flr.tga, so we'll just flr. And it's not going to be a cube, so let's go back into the... Let's see if I could just create a face out of the 3D... not the SGL prototypes, come on. There we go, 3D engine basics. There's create 3D sprite quad. There we go, 3D sprite quad. That sounds right. Sprite ID. Okay, maybe that doesn't sound right. I just want a single quad that I can texture myself, just to make things easy, and then later I'll do something. There we go, create plane. That sounds correct. So we got quads, we got vertices. Okay, that seems simple. Actually, we can go ahead and try to render this now. Let's see if, you know, it'll just go. So let's see, let's do this. Okay. And instead of doing metal crate 1, what's this integer for? Oh, that's number of faces. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's necessary, but I'll keep it in. I'll keep the same notation just so we can keep things steady. This is metal crate, not crate, crate 1. And then we're going to go in with mesh floor 1, mesh floor. There we go. Mesh floor 1. Mesh floor 1. All right, and then we just, do a little bit. Okay, we don't want create cube. We want create plane. Instead of metal crate, this is going to be mesh floor. Metal crate is going to be mesh floor. Metal crate. Mesh floor. Only one face. It's just one polygon. Or, yeah, one quad. One of these. Do one of these. Alright. Seems correct. So if we're going to initialize it, we're going to do it over here. We're just going to do another initialize geometry. We're just going to do mesh, dang it. Mesh floor 1. And when we draw it, how do we draw it? Okay, so I have my game objects. There we go. All right, so we're going to create an object. Vertex, quad, quad. Quad is 1. So how do we know that it is going to be a cube? That's interesting. See, I didn't consider this before, but... Oh, no, I know, because the vertex and the quad are going to be pointed to the right thing. So... Oh, that's simple. So let's just go over to our... Where's our gameplay handler? Did I not open that file up? We have our... Let's see, display, game... Let's just sort this by type. What handles my input? Is that still tied in the main? I really should split off handling input to another file. Basically, input should be separate from display. Should be separate from logic. So this is still not fully, segmented code yet, that like it should be. Huh. Okay. Yeah, the music cut out in the background for a little bit. So we have a create object, and it's just creating metal crate. What I probably could do is I could probably simplify this input here and just put a string and do another string sort, just like I did with the template here. I might do that later, but for now, let's take this create object. We're going to put it at the beginning of the game logic before we start the main loop. Okay, what? Actually... No, yeah, we can put it here. Because I was creating objects before I actually started the core run. And let's just create floor. Alright. It should be centered at 0. 0. 0. Mesh. Okay. Oh, it already knows what I want. Just to create the floor, and then this is probably not even going to be the way I'm going to do it at the end. This is just going to be a quick initialization just to see if it does it. We don't need this rotation comment, anymore. All right. So let's just turn on the game and see if I just see a floor. A minute. Seriously? Game input. Empty body and if statement. Oh wait, that's just the warning. I can ignore that. There's a real error in line 143, which is probably just me mistyping something. Should be a 1. Alright. For real. So, it's being drawn. The orientation already, I don't think, is correct. I probably should have read that more carefully. Also, that texture is not right. So, what's up with that? Let's go back and look. Okay, just give me a second. I gotta go check on something. Okay, so, let's see. So we have mesh floor, and when I create the object, mesh floor, floor.tga, mesh floor. So, what is going on? So let's, well, first off, I don't like the orientation. Let's fix the orientation first, and then I can start thinking about things like, incorrect textures. The quad, vertices. It's create plane. No, I'm not using create plane, was it? I am, okay. Export. I go over my template, I am creating a plane. So I just create a plane. Okay, so it's initialized. 32. That should probably not be 32. That should probably be 4. Be honest, I'm not certain. So let's try that. See if that breaks it. I really should know how to orient it, though. That's the thing. I might have to. Oh, I remember. I'm gonna have to rotate it into place. So I'm gonna have to do a 90-degree rotation. Second thing I would probably want to do is learn to scale it. But like I said, there is an infinite. Oh, hello. Where? Okay, this is confusing. When I try to approach it, it disappears. When I go farther away, it stays. Huh. Yeah, this is weird. Okay. Let's go back in the code and cross-check with the documentation. Creating an object. 000. Okay, that's the location. Let's... Oh, yeah. This is going to be object 0. It should be. And object 0, we're going to want to assign... Okay, where's our game objects? So, not a rotation along... Well, I guess either X or Y should do it. Just do a rotation along X of 90 degrees. Try and get it horizontal so it acts like a floor. And secondly, what we're going to have to do is find a, What are we gonna find? We're gonna find... We'll find out why the texture that's being displayed is the box texture and not the floor texture that I wanted. So, let's see if this actually did what I thought it was gonna do. Yeah, Saturn. If I back up, okay, there's... Jeez. Yeah, it's gonna be difficult because this thing disappears when I approach it. I don't know why. 1 polygon, 4 vertices, but it's... I think the engine is saying it doesn't exist. Maybe, I don't know. Here's the actual cube I place. That makes sense. Floor don't make sense. I'm gonna try... First, I'm gonna try a quick and dirty way just to get the thing to look bigger. And then I gotta figure out if there's a better way of just having a floor. So, quick and dirty way of making this thing look bigger is multiplying the vertices, which should be a collection of coordinates, if I understand this correctly. I don't know if the quads need to be multiplied similarly, so let's try it this way. Whoops. I didn't think that was gonna work. That's the thing, is I'm getting to the point, a point where I can no longer just willy-nilly start playing around with stuff. I might actually have to do some serious reading ahead of time to get this stuff to work. Okay, so... Oh, you can create a triangle. There we go, table of 4, JO vertices. Okay, so that makes sense. So I'm doing that. I'm doing that. How do you scale something in this thing? So, let me see. Set scale. Okay, let's try it this way. This is rotated, so we're doing that. Let's create a scale, scaling integer. So let's, oh, I probably should do it in the declaration first. So, scale. This is a... Okay, it's an integer. Okay, so it's gonna be awkward. Let's do just a direct integer thing for now and see if we can fix it later with a float. So there's an X scale, a Y scale, and a Z scale. And we're gonna want the XZ plane, I believe, be scaled high. So let's do Z times 100 SXXZ. And once we have that, what we're gonna have to actually do is in the draw function, we're gonna have to properly implement that. So when we create the object, we want to initialize the scale as 1, so as not to change other things. Oh, okay. Here's the create object, blah blah blah. Set all these things to 0, and then we're gonna set the scale a 1 for everything, unless otherwise specified. Gonna be SX, SC, there we go. Dang it. It's always gonna be 1 unless we fix it afterwards. And then in this case, the floor will be set to 100. And now we can go in the display and start saying, let's see, translate, rotate, scale. No, we want the scale first before we start doing translations. That's probably for the best. So, set texture, JO set 3D scale. And that's going to be an XYZ. And we're just going to call the actual properties of the object for that one. It's going to look like this. Whoops. Like this, except with an S in front. Okay, if I did everything correctly, I should just be able to do this. Oh, crap. Oh, wait, that's just another Sigwin error. It's just being stupid. That looks like a floor. Oh my goodness. That was... Okay, this is not what I was going for, but it's reminiscent of a floor. The problem is, when I get spawned at 0, it looks basically like this. There, that's spawning at 0. And, I should probably start up here. I'm not sure how... I should probably put the displays back up. Camera... displays. Let's just do the printouts again. Did I delete those entirely, or are they still there somewhere? I can go in an old version of the code and just copy it in. Okay. Let's see. Just frame number. Okay, so yeah, I don't think I'm just oh, actually it would probably be in display, right? Polygons, vertices. Okay. Actually, we should let's see. Pull back. Nope. Now that needs to stay up here for now, because then otherwise I'd have to put the frame number and push it to the draw. I don't feel like doing that. Okay, what am I trying to do? Trying to get the display for the camera. Yeah, let's just go into one of the old stream files and just copy that through. So if I just take this old main file, it's probably in here. There it is. So there's gonna be camera position. That's all I really care about, because that's not camera position anymore. That's just straight up player position. Let's copy that in and put it with the display, I guess. Call it position for now. Just find out where I need to be. So if we just climb up a bit, why is it so low? I should... Clearly, this is reversed. So I think 150s... Okay, so the bounding box and the character size basically be a box of size 150. I'm gonna figure out why these numbers are negative. So for starters, vertical offset 150, that's going to be along the y-axis. That display, Camera position. Why is camera position negative? That doesn't make sense. It's reporting camera position itself as negative, which probably shouldn't. I press up, or rather, if I press Z, Z should climb, but it's negative. But then... It's very odd. Now I'm looking at the code, and pressing Z is negative to go upward, but if I press up to go forward, I'm going forward. So if I just go ahead and try to quote-unquote fix this by making C negative and Z positive, and leave these signs as the same thing, where are we going wrong? Because what I'm doing is I'm essentially, this is just gonna reverse the controls, but it really shouldn't. It should be working this way to begin with. Because I want an accurate readout of positions. I don't know why the sign flipping is even a thing. Looking at the camera. But camera, where's camera position? That viewpoint. Yeah, this looks right. Everything, if I don't know why I would have to arbitrarily flip this guy right here and not the two surrounding it. This guy is being reported correctly. This guy is being set correctly. Well, let's try it and see if maybe I'm just going crazy. Ugh. Every time with Sigwin. Tiling. Okay, forward goes forward, back goes back, left goes negative, right goes positive. That makes sense. Z climbs, and that gives me negative. What is the screen flipped? Is that what's going on? See, if I put the object here and I put the object here, what's going on with that? What I don't get is with this warping on this quote-unquote floor tile. Because I want it to just look like a big square like that. That looks somewhat normal. When I approach it, the rendering just it distorts itself. I don't get it. Is this some weird fisheye effect that I'm not aware of that's automatically turned on? Also, the Z-Sword. Well, I'm not sure if Z-Sword's the correct term for it, but you can see the boxes are kind of clipping out or something, but as I get closer, they go back into view. I think these are all aspects of the engine that I need to become much more acquainted with by doing a lot of reading. So this stream, I'm not be able to probably fix this specific issue. It's starting to become the theme for the night is that I'm running into these problems that I know are these complicated SGL problems that I'm not going to be able to fix in just one night. For now, I just, you know, I don't know why positive goes down and negative goes up when the other two directions seem to be behaving in a manner that I expect. So left, right, up, down, Z, sorry, C, Z, C. So negative is up, and I feel like it shouldn't be, but what do I know? Well, instead of trying to fix that, let's just go back to what it was. Apparently I knew what I was doing when I set that up, or rather, that was the compromise that I came up with at the time. So if we do, where's my handle? Oh, handle input is still in main. Shouldn't be there, but it is. Let's put the negative sign back in front of Z. Take it off of C. Meantime, camera target defaults. When I press the start button. Oh yeah, okay. Position. Default 150. Start 150. There has to be a better way of doing just a floor. Or really just a single quad. I don't know why a single quad has to be so weird looking. Maybe I should be tiling floor tiles or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, let's start thinking about collision. Let's start looking at the declaration for this object. So let's We have a scale. Let's do a size. So this is going to be the hitbox size, and then we're going to do the logic for it just after we set it up. So, int x size. Let's just do x size. X size, y size, z size, y size, z size, and then we do our initialization, and we're going to set the size. Let's do a default size of, well, actually, how big is a cube when it's initialized? Is that going to be in the documentation? I just realized JL3D plane vertices is probably what I should be using for the floor tile and not cube vertices. Let's fix that real quick now that I'm looking at it. Under templates. There we go. So there's a macro there I need to implement. Okay. Cube. Where is the cube? Okay. 3D JLog constructs. But we're using the default cube vertices here. Cube vertice table. And that's size 32. And I'm assuming that that's just going to be a struct of... Oh, struct of something. Whoa. Oh, let's clear this for a second. P data. We're calling a P data thing. Here. JL3D quad. The quads! Oh, don't tell me we have to manually go into each and every quad and turn on... oh, crap. I think we answered the question from earlier. Maybe. Let's backtrack. Okay, we'll get back to hitboxes in a second. I think I've stumbled onto the solution here. So we have quads, and each of these quads, I believe, is being written in this for loop. Where? Here, for each set texture, while we're here, quads, are an element, 6 elements. Okay. So let's do sky. Index I dot let's see, can we directly just call its attributes like that? So it's a quad. The quad has a attribute and it has a p data. And p data has its own attribute. Oh my god, we're just nesting these things. Oof. Okay. Attribute has flag, and then the p data has an attribute that has a flag. And one of these two things is the thing that we need to flip switch. So let's write a line that does one for each. Oh, it's not ATTR, it's ATT... What is it? Oh, it's just attribute. That's easy. Attribute dot flag equals 0. And p data dot attribute dot flag equals 0. Or p data dot... let's see. P data dot... Oh, it's just data. Data.attbl. So I'm going to comment these out. I'm going to bug test these later. So this is going to be on my own time when I figure out which one of these things does it. I just want these lines written down so that I know that this is probably where I need to look to get that backface calling going and potentially increase my object count, or at least keep my refresh rate or my frame rate decent while I'm doing stuff, able to put more objects on screen. So let's save that and table that and go back to the hitboxes, which is what I was trying to get to before I got distracted with that. Okay, so the hitboxes, it's over here. I'm just handling input, good. So we got our size, right? And this size is hitbox size, so we're going to do, oh, that's what I was trying to find out. I was trying to find out what the default size for the cube is. Let's see if we can't try to clip through a cube created at the center. And well, I guess I can kind of guesstimate it. It's probably going to be a nice round number anyway. So let me... Oh, whoops, have I? I've been in Mendefend this entire time. Sorry. Okay. Let me go over what I just went over anyway, but accidentally blanked out. I found out that the quads had an ATTR and a P data. So I went into the ATTR and I found the flag. And then the P data has its own ATTR called ATTBL that has a P data, or that P data has ATTR that is called ATTBL that has its own flag. So that's these two lines that I've commented out here to test out on my own time to see if I can't turn on backface calling for the cubes. I'm sorry I went for that long while blanking the screen out. Anyways, back to the main goal here, which is to try and set up a hitbox size. I have a default size of 1. Let's set that default size to -1 and just say when it's -1 we disable collision, and we'll just turn it to 1 when we create a cube. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go inside the game itself and just kind of guesstimate where the boundaries of the cube lie when I create one. I'm going to be facing dead forward anyway when I 0 angle forward. I initialize myself in the game, so I'm going to just drop a cube. Okay, now I can't even see where I put it. Okay, I've managed to break this thing. That's not good. Where are the cubes that I'm dropping? Oh, they're up there. What? I am, Is the camera target not changing with that? Anyway, let's okay. I got one thing to fix at a time. Let's fix this first, and then we'll fix the other thing. So here is the cube. The face disappears at dang it, it's so sensitive. There we go. So what appears to be, let's call it minus 40 or so, and then it may very well be the cube has a width of 64. I'm not sure because let me see if I can just. Problem is, I think I'm initializing the location to 150, but the camera target is probably not being initialized to the correct location. Also, this floor thing is screwing me up. Got to get rid of that too. So let's go ahead and get rid of that floor object that I created in the beginning, and let's just replace it with a just a normal metal crate. Do metal crate 1. Metal crate 1, 6 spaces. Don't rotate it. Don't. Oh, whoops. Definitely don't delete that line. Set the scale. Actually, this will help me actually track it down. Let me set the scale to 10. It'll draw it 10 times bigger. Make it easier to try and guesstimate where we're at. Large numbers and whatnot. Let's go back into the handle input thing and see what is going on here. Oh. Okay. That makes sense. And then camera target should be just fixed to camera. Yeah, that part makes sense. I don't know why this is throwing me off, so let's just go back to 0. Hey. Whoops. It's there we are. My God, what is going on here? Okay, I'm inside the box, that's why. And I stretched X and Z, but not Y. Oof, what happened there? Yeah, this is definitely pushing what the engine was probably meant to do. Okay, so if I back off, the face comes back into play here. Okay, there we go. Minus 400. And go all the way forward. Disappears at 245. Because the camera target is 150 units away from me. So, let's just use that as a size parameter there, just to guesstimate. We know it's an integer value, so that means 10 times the integer value is going to be 10 times that. So, 245 minus. So it's between 230, 245, between 235, 240. So 240, maybe. Let's see, 240, it's still there. 250, it's not. Okay. And then when we back up, it's between minus 415. Okay, minus 400 and 390. So let's just call it minus 400 for now. Doing plus 400 divided by 10. That's what I guess. It's going to be about 64, I believe. So boxes are 64 by 64. Interesting to know. So if the boxes are 64 by 64, we should set the scale to 64, 64, 64. Which sounds repetitive, but it's how it is. Game object. When we make a box, create object. Oh, I know. We got to do it. We got to do it when we handle the input, because that's when we actually create the object. So we create the object. We're gonna do. There we go. Num object. It's gonna be static and it's gonna be callable. So num object. Object. Object entity num object, or index num object. Where is the actual objects list? There should be a list. A global there. Oh, game object. There we go. You know, all just kind of meshed together for me when I was reading it. So object num object dot sx equals 64. This is obviously a sloppy way of doing it, but this is just to test it out, and I'll clean it up later. Z. So we got this guy. Okay, let's just see if this compiles first before I start writing more lines. Empty body and if statement. Oh, it's that stupid warning again. Z not declared. Line 74. What is that? What is Z not? A.60. Oh, that's probably a parentheses that did not get written as. Oh, no, that's just Z. Weird. Oh, quit your complaining. Oh, okay, it's compiling, so that means it's running. No, it's not running. Because Sigwin's complaining. So I'll just make sure that this thing runs before I keep writing more lines of code concerning the hitbox. Okay, it's running. That's to my satisfaction. Okay. So we initialize the box size to 64, and we should probably modify it by the scaling factor. So I'll remember to do that. And the game objects. Let us do. Actually, let's make another. Make another header file. Let's call it collisions. As always, just include this. Actually, now I think about it, the collision logic probably belongs in the game object logic, so let's just make a collision function. We're gonna do do we want an integer or a boolean? That's the thing. Because what we want is we kind of want feedback where we're saying, okay, we're going to attempt to go forward. And if we're colliding, not only do we want to know if we're going to be colliding or not, but whether or not, if we are going to be colliding, how should I fix my character? Or I could avoid that calculation just by saying, you know, when I attempt to go forward, I do the check on one increment forward first before I end up getting kicked back out. And if I can't go forward, if I get, you know, collision is equal true, then that means I can't go forward and the input is canceled and the position is not incremented. So for now, let's just do that. This is going to be binary collision. You either hit it or you don't, but there's not going to be like soft collision or bouncing or physics or anything like that. It's just going to be Boolean. Bool. There we go. We're just going to do bool. Is or will collide? No. Collide or is colliding. Let's just try to keep the language programming. Is colliding. It's gonna take in let me see. We're gonna want the So now it becomes a question of processing power. Do I want to check only the closest object and see if I'm colliding with that? Or do I want to Do I want to try and just sort through every object until I hit a collision or I run out of objects? Because it might very well be that trying to sort, like if I have a bunch of objects loaded in the level, I might end up doing myself no good trying to run a collision program on 100 or a few hundred different things, but we'll see. We'll see. For now, I'm going to run the collision on everything. If that turns out to be a mistake, then I'll have to undo it. The first thing is colliding. The object, I'm going to grab the objects directly from the objects, which is, or the object array, which is just going to be kind of a universal thing already, so I don't need to call that as an argument. And then camera should be in the scope of this guy, or if it isn't, if it isn't, then I'll input a coordinate. So input X, Y, and Z, and we're gonna do basic. I should probably label this thing. Basic bounding box collision. So we have an X and a Y and a Z, and let me see. We have a. Oh, we're gonna want a width too. So X size. We do Y size, Z size, and this is gonna be centered coordinates. So the X is going to be the center, and then the X size is going to be the width. So we're going to check out half of the width. I don't know if we want to do lower bound or upper bound. Probably lower bound, just for, you know, not safety's sake, but, you know, just for comfort. I'd rather the collisions be less detected than more, I think. It's only one unit, and the one unit's practically undetectable anyway. So let's do it. We're going to have to have an index. We're going to have a return value. Colliding equal false. Default value is going to be false. If I found out it's true, then I'll have a return. We don't even need a colliding flag. We can just do, you know, we return true, and if we get to the end, we're just going to return false. So for, let's see, index equals 0, index less than num object, index plus plus. All right. Okay, we're going to sort through every object, and here's how we're going to do the collision. So we're just going to repeat it for X, Y, and Z. We have, let's see. We probably need to initialize some X distances. So int if X size, well, not X size, object index dot X size. Remember, I wanted the value of -1, meaning that if it's -1, we don't detect collision, which is why the default value here. So -1 doesn't detect collision. So let's SX. That's why. Not X size. Equal -1. And okay, we'll just do one of these check statements for let's see, check X. int. Okay, we're gonna have to have a flag for each coordinate's collision just to check at the end. There's gonna be x collide equal false. Do y collide, z collide. And thing is, I'm gonna check along each direction individually. So let's say you're staring at an object and it's dead ahead, and you don't have any camera rotation. So if you do the check, by default you're staring in the z direction, which means you and the object are in all likelihood in the same x coordinate and y coordinate, just in a different z coordinate. So if I do the x collision check, it's going to say, yes, you're right on top of that thing, you can't be there. The y collision check is going to say the same thing. Z collision is going to be the only one that says, oh yeah, you're good. But if I exit the loop immediately, after checking just x or y, it's going to give me the wrong result. It's going to say I'm colliding when I'm not. So I need to set up these guys. Actually, I should just initialize them and just set them up false from the beginning. So reset values. Okay. So they're going to start out false, and then if all three of these flags flip on by the end of this thing, then I have to return true. And then I only need to return true once for me to be colliding at that coordinate, and then I just can't move there. So that's it. Return if colliding. If, let me see, x collide, y collide, z collide, and y, and z. That's just going to be return true. That's our collision detection. Let's do the actual math for it, though. So if the size is equal to -1, or not equal, we should do a not equal. If size greater than or equal to 0, that's it. And then by default, it won't check if it's -1. So that's all we need to do. So we're gonna do an and here, and then you're just gonna put the math in here just to be quick and easy with it. We want x minus. Let me see. We're gonna have to do a series of checks actually. Now that I think about it, so let's do. Let's initialize some more variables. There's gonna be max v max equal. No, we don't have to initialize this crap. There's gonna be max. Let's do max v max. Can I just type correctly, please? And then there's going to be max v min, and then min v max, min v min. What we're going to do is we're going to check. No, this is unnecessary. Now that I think about it, we don't have to do this. So what we want is we want to subtract the coordinate x, which is our check coordinate, from, or subtract the object's x coordinate from x. The object's x coordinate is going to be this. Okay, and that's going to give us a size, and if that is less than half of the sum of the widths, so that's going to be x size plus this, I believe that was SX is the size for this guy. Shut up. Divided by 2, because the width is the full width, and we want the half width because we're measuring from the center. So if we have a cube of width 2 trying to collide into a cube of width 2, one's at coordinate 0, one's at coordinate 1, we're going to have 1 minus 0 is 1, and that's got to be less than half of 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2 is 4, half of 4 is 2. So 1 less than 2, that means those two cubes are colliding. If we move that second cube over to coordinate 2, that means that's like the border case where they're just not colliding. So 2 minus 0 for the center coordinates is 2. And then the two widths are 2 plus 2 is 4. Half of that is 2. So they're not strictly less than, so they're not colliding. And anything after that, obviously, is going to be not colliding as well. So this is how we're doing that comparison. And we're just going to wrap that up in the if statement. And this. There we go. Okay. Okay, if collision is enabled by having a non-zero value, and the difference of center coordinates is less than the difference of half, or less than the sum of half the widths, or less than half the sum of the widths, then that means we're colliding. We return, or we set x collide to true. Sorry, we don't return true just yet. And then we're gonna have to do that for y and z as well. If x and y and z are all colliding, that means we're definitely colliding. The objects are actually colliding, and we have to trigger that flag. Right. All right. Here's the fun part: the find and replace without breaking anything else. So we're gonna check for x and replace with y. Must be in the selection. Replace all. Well, it replaced index with inday. So maybe, whatever. It's a small price to pay. That'll make this find replace easier if I just swap it. I take this, Control H, find replace y with z. All right. Let's double check that object. There's no words with y in it in here, so that should be good. Now we're checking to see if we are colliding. If it is colliding, return true. And this is a nice function that we have, and we're not using it yet, so we have to implement it. So where do we implement it? On any key press. Let's say anytime we have a delta. Let's do after all these key presses. I don't want to have to implement this for every key press. Check. Whoops. Check collision. I can spell. Is that 1L, 2Ls, 1. Who cares? All right. If is colliding, and the x, y, and z are going to be Yeah, that's the problem, though, is I'm going to have to create a potential camera position. Yeah, okay. So here's what I'm going to do. The camera position is already being directly written whenever I do anything. So yeah, so this is what's happening here. So I'm gonna have to create. I want to initialize not just a delta, but cam position, can pause, next. And that's going to be equal to the camera position itself at those three things. So it's basically, we're going to initialize it as a clone, and we're going to modify it with we're going to modify it with the deltas. And then if it passes all the checks, then we can just what we can do? Yeah, if it passes the checks, then we can just write the position over. So deltas are being written. So we can go here. Just change that to next. Here, here, let's not fix the camera target just yet. There. We're gonna do, here's where we put the check collision. Camera position next. Lighting, and that's, there we go. And then here's our X. Here's our Y. Here is our Z. And I think a fair size for the player, which is essentially the camera right now. An elevator. Oh yeah, the background music. Yeah, that's just more Hedgehog theme music, because Sega is like the only company in the world that won't try to claim my YouTube videos when I put their background music in. So yeah, enjoy the smooth Hedgehog jazz. Right, what was I doing? Yeah, size, character size. I think we established that 150 is probably a good number to estimate what the character size is. Have that 75, so whatever. If it's colliding, then we have nothing up. If not is colliding, then we can start writing. There we go. And then the position next is camera position equals camera position next. Essentially, that's what we're doing. So here's where we actually write the camera, and then the camera target is going to be where it is. All right. 1, 2. All right, let's see if this actually works, because, you know, probably doesn't. Let's, for safety's sake, I'm going to put the camera target out a little bit further. I'm going to call it 250. And that way, where's the default camera target? Where are you? Frame number. Where's the camera? Where did I define the camera? Is it under display? Probably is. Camera target. Default 250. And that way, what we don't do is we don't want to trap ourselves by placing a box and all of a sudden the collision disables movement. You don't want that. Because the way I wrote the collision, basically, once you're inside, you're stuck. You can't get out. I don't know if that's the best way of doing it, but that's the way we're doing it right now because I think it's mathematically expedient. So let's hope that this compiles at least. Alright. So if I did this correctly, I should be able to place a box, but not run through it. Oh, do I still have that? That is super annoying. Oh. Oh, things are still broken in a different way. Yeah, I forgot. Things are broken. We gotta fix things before we can actually play with anything. Let's go back and let's let me see. Clearly, I'm not initializing geometry correctly. We do not need to be initializing the floor yet, nor should we be creating the floor. So let's not do that. I forgot to set in the scaling factors. That's not good. In the collision, the scaling factor needs to be there. So we do that here. So the game object has a scaling factor set to what? Oh, did I rename these things the same thing twice? That's not good. Size and scale. So let's just do it X size, the way it's meant to be. Size. Size. And then the draw function is also going to have to be changed because I know that I screwed it up there too. When I draw object. There we go. Size. So we'll test that out after we test out the collision. I just want to see if the collision works right now. I think this should have fixed everything, or it might not have, I don't know. There's a box. Exactly like it was before. Up, down, there we go. Oh, it didn't stop me. It did not stop me. That is disappointing. So why isn't it stopping me? Is it not calling the function? Is that what's going on? When I create the box, am I creating it with a size? Oh no, I'm creating it with a scale, I think. If I go forward, I see that, let's see, the box phases out around what, 130, and then so I think the box might be a bit bigger. I don't know. I forgot when I modify the create box. There we go. X size. I knew I forgot one place where it was. Oops. Okay, there we go. Let's try it this way. Yeah, Saturn. Okay, there's a box. It still won't... It won't stop me. That is annoying. If I put another box, won't stop me. Why won't it stop me? There's two objects. That means the index needs to be shifted by 1, right? So... object -1, num object -1, num object -1. Okay, and then collision is colliding input camera position, input 150 each for the size. We might end up having to put some more print statements again, just to see what's going on. Okay. Does anyone know the fprint for booleans? So, okay, I don't need to be messing with templates right now anyway. Okay, if I'm doing this... So let's do, just do Boolean, or just Boolean printout over here. And that's got to be, let's see, line... What line are we not using right now? Probably 5. Line 5, we'll do collisions. I can spell it right, I don't know. Tab it. Boolean for fprint is %b? No, that's not right. I guess it's %d and it'll print 1 or 0. Alright, that makes sense. %d, tab, %d, tab, %d. Don't need another tab after that. And that's got to be written as x collide, y collide, z collide. Let me just copy and paste that 3 times. So, first off, we'll know just by seeing this that the function is being called, which is the first thing we need to check. Second thing is we need to know that if any of these collisions are actually being detected. And third is, if they're all being detected, why am I able to go through the freaking box? Let's go back into the Saturn. Are you serious? Sigwin, every time. Come on. This compiler is just giving me headaches every time I try to use it live. There we are. So I make the box. Collisions are... My god, what is going on here? Okay, I can go backward. Something severely weird has happened. I broke something. I don't know how, but I broke it. What changed? There's one object. It's not even rendering all that well. And if I try to move the camera, position is changing. Collisions are registering 0, which makes sense. But everything... It looks like the frame rate is right, correct? But everything feels slow. I tried going forward. Oh. No, I broke something. I don't know what I broke, but I broke it. Alright. Let's see what's going on here. Loop. What did I change? I changed the input handling, right? Okay. Camera position. Oh. You know what? This thing. If is colliding returns true, then this doesn't trigger and the camera position... The camera position is changing. So this thing is returning false. We know that much at least. But why is everything weird now? Does anything depend on the camera position beforehand? Hmm. Camera position next seems to be acting the way I expect it to. Let's, oops. Let's implement a boolean and just write to it and just do, bool collide check. And we're not even going to use it. We're just going to have it hold this value so that we know that we're calling this function. Okay. And then we are going to definitely write this thing. If statement's gone now. So, really, okay. Well, now we're just checking to see if the function is running. It's returning what we were expecting. Okay. So this should have normal behavior. We have game objects. Size should default to... Oh. You know what? That's going to screw things up. Size and scale have been reversed here, and the defaults have been reversed too. I don't know what it means to scale something to the -1, but it's probably not good. Here's where I messed up. Default scale is 1. Default size for collisions, -1. Let me just write hitboxes so I don't forget. Let's try that again. Oh, Sigwin's cooperating now. That's great. Oh, just looking over here, we have 11 people in the stream. What just happened? I've been screwing up all night. I have no idea who's watching. Alright. We have... Okay, it's saying 1, meaning I'm colliding with it. If I back off... My god. Okay, this is still not what I want happening. So you notice the collision check is flipping. Is it because I set the target out to 250 as opposed to 150? Because I don't think that should affect it like that. Let me change some numbers back. I'm gonna set the target to 150 again. I'm gonna set the camera to 150 distance, and then I'm just gonna set the player themselves as 50. It's going to let us clip, but it's not going to let us clip a lot. Okay, so this is back to 150. This is back to 150. What else do we want to do here? Player distance 50. 50. 50. Oh, is something being initialized to something it shouldn't be when I create the box? Size. X size. Size is for hitboxes. That seems right. Let's... Okay, the player... Closest object. Okay, closest object. Where do I have that? Closest object. Threshold. Threshold distance. Okay, yeah, that's a different thing. Okay. So, the closest object is only there if I want to try and destroy something, which is not what I'm trying to figure out right now. Let's see. Up, down, left, right, A. Wait frames. PC, X, Y, Z, LR. Camera angle, okay. That's not what we want. Okay, we got distance 150. Default distance. Where's my default camera target? Under display, if I have a camera target, default 150 again. And nothing down here seems to be... That just writes the camera position. That's nothing that needs to be played with. Let's see if that fixed it. I don't think it did, but let's try. Oh, and of course Sigwin throws me an error. Okay, engine's running. We make a box. Wow, that's close. Okay. You try to back off of it, and... See, this is not the same behavior we had before. Everything feels so much slower, and I don't know if the scale is what's doing it. So if I get closer, I have Y collision, which makes sense because I'm on the same level as the box, and X collision, there we go. I go forward. See, this feels wrong. It feels like the box is much bigger than it needs to be. Frames per second I can implement a little bit later. It's just going to be me making a time function, doing subtraction, and doing a little bit of arithmetic. Oh, here's something weird. I'm pressing the start button to reset the camera, and I can't. Why is that? Why can't I reset the camera position? Okay, I can rotate at normal speed. That part makes sense. But everything feels slow. Moving left. The frame rates are right. Okay, let's do a quick frame check, see if I'm actually slowing down the thing. So let's change scope again. Let me just turn off that collision checker and see if my poorly implemented collision is what's destroying the game somehow. Where do I check for that? Check collision. There we go. First, let's see if I broke it in a different way. And then, yeah, Shane, I'll implement a rudimentary frame per second counter where the frame count is right now, just to, you know, make it make sense. If I make a box, no, it still feels slow. And if I make another box, it's not at a camera target. What? What is going on here? Yeah, definitely something screwy is going on. I might want to revert to the old code and try again from the beginning. just keeping some of the bits of collision logic I wrote in memory off in a notepad somewhere on the side. Here, let me just let's do exactly that. Let's okay, main loop. We're gonna revert back to what it was before I started screwing around with different things that didn't quite work. We have our game objects. We want, here's what I want to save, the actual, because I have confidence that this is going to work eventually. Let's hold this here. And let me go back, the last stream, the ending point for the last stream, we have my C objects, my header files. That's all we really need. Copy this and paste it into, here, copy and replace. And then Notepad++, do you want to reload it? Yes. Do we want to load it? Yes, yes. Do you want to reload it? Yes. Okay, there we go. So then this should just run just like it did before. Here. So what I did is I just reverted the code back to what it was at the end of the last stream. Because I don't know what I broke, but it broke it in a way that I didn't want to try and bug fix. There we go. So this is what I expected. You know, just full speed movement. This is what we had last time. I can move. I can place boxes. I can destroy them if I press the right button. B, Z, X. There we go. X. Got. Okay, create, destroy. So this is where we were last time. Now let's try to do the collision check. So, the collision check, we were going to put... in the, okay, here's the input handling, right? So in the input handling, let's do what we did before. Cam pause next, and then we're just gonna do. Well, I don't need to implement it at 0. We're just gonna fix it with the cam position anyway. So set next camera position to current. And that's just going to be, where are we at? Not camera target. Oh, okay, so a line like this, except slightly modified. That way we have a holding thing, like, before we do the collision check, we're going to calculate the new camera target, then we're going to do the collision check, then we're going to allow it to overwrite if it's not colliding. So for beginning, just position 0. 1, 2, and then we're just gonna write next to it, like a lazy marketing company trying to sell a new electronic. Okay, and let's do the collision detection. Okay, there, fixed camera position. That's gonna be next. Check collision. Hopefully that's spelled right. And then we're going to go and then take the inverse of this. And normally what we do is we check for collision first to see if we're not colliding before we do this. But right now I'm just going to do it by default, and I just want a visual display of collision. And no, I'm not forgetting to do the frame counter. I'm about to implement it right now. We just have to take a quick look over at the documentation. And he has time functions. Where are the time functions? Oh, this is the wrong folder. There we go. We have a... There we go. Time.h. And we're just going to be able to grab what? Get ticks. System clock value. So we're just going to do... There we go. So we get ticks. We're going to subtract the previous tick from it. So that's simple enough. So let's run that every frame. Let's do... where are we? So in the main loop... Main loop. There we go. What does this thing return? Get ticks. Returns tick count. Unsigned integer. Okay, that's good. That's fine. Return. Okay, so old tick. Okay, we're gonna have tick and old tick. This will be uint. Do we have uint? Uint 8? That. Can we declare just declare unsigned int? Let's see. Oh, we have to write unsigned in front of it, I think. There we go, unsigned int. Set that to 0. Set that to 0. I believe it is Dracula theme, yes. Or actually, no. It wasn't Dracula theme. It was something else. Shane and I just went through it until one of them looked nice, and I don't know if it was like a blue something or another. I forget. Anyway, so on to the main loop. Let's not do frame number anymore. Frame number is no longer important. And I need to declare these guys outside the scope of this function, or I'm not going to be able to find it. So we're going to replace frame number. There we go. Let's do a static. Make sure we're able to call it wherever we want. Static unsigned int 0 0. We'll tick -1. Prevent any weird errors. Part of the main loop. Old tick equal tick. And then tick equal this function here, AO get ticks. And then we're gonna have a little float here to give us our FPS, and that's gonna be equal to 1.0 divided by float. We cast. Let's see. Well, we don't really need to cast. Well, no, because we already got 1.0 divided. So it's gonna be tick minus old tick, and that's gonna be FPS. Wait, no, 3.2 F, just in case. It's gonna be. There we go. FPS. Oh, we're going to keep that for a side. So let's just see if the frame counter is working right now first before I do anything. Really? Oh, that's just compiler complaining. Oh, and now we're really complaining. What's going on? Gamepad. Frame number. Oh. Oh, I needed that frame number. I was using it. Whoops. Static int frame num equals 0. Shouldn't have done that. Okay. Frame num undeclared, first use in this function. What? What do you mean frame num? Ram num. Okay. I should probably have frame num. Alright. Fair enough. My god, what did I screw up this time? Empty. Okay, no one cares about that. Assignment makes integer from pointer without cast. What are you talking about? 113. Oh, whoops, that's a function. Okay. Syntax before do. Semicolon. I'm just making all these beginner mistakes one after another. Oh, okay, now it's compiling. Old tick equals tick would be for making sure that you know, we want to reset the count. So when we have a new frame number, whatever the number of ticks of the clock were there before, we want now I'm having trouble explaining. However many ticks of the clock we measured in the last frame, we want to write as old tick, and new tick we're gonna pull a new frame number, and at that point, that's when we do the comparison. We just divide 1 by that to see how many frames per second. Okay, see ya, Yusuf. Don't... That's... right. Okay, Yusuf. Anyway, as you can see, that 0.006 is probably because this should be in milliseconds and not seconds. Let's try that. Actually, we can actively see how the game is slowing down in real time. So we have 62.5 frames per second, which is not quite what I expected, but whatever. I should be working on the hitboxes right now, but I'm just curious to see how much I can slow this game down by making a bunch of boxes. Oh, there we go. It just switched over to 30 frames at 40. So I think the engine is intelligently saying, I can't handle this. Let's go slower. Which is nice, but if possible, I'd like to keep it at 60. It's self-throttling, I guess. I wonder if I try to put even more boxes down, it'll slow down again to like a 20 or a 15 or something. So we went from 62.5 to 30.3. Which is not quite... Oh, there we go. Ah, we slowed down, and the engine gave up and said, okay, let's go to 20. It just gets... Yeah, that's exactly what I think too, Shane. It's it realizes that it has too much work to try and make the 60, and instead of trying to do, like, 50 at struggling to 60, it's just saying, okay, next attempt, let's just go to the next... The next increment that's like a normal frame rate. I don't know how many Saturn games are going to be at 20 frames. I'm sure there's a handful. Like, maybe the more intense ones, graphically. The 60 frame ones are probably going to be almost exclusively fighting games, to my knowledge. But, now we got a good sense of timing. I can't put more than 40 boxes on screen without the engine, giving up and trying to go down to the next tier of frame rate. I have no clue. That sounds right. I believe that. I mean, which is fine, because the human eye can only see 12 frames per second, right? Okay, anyway, back to what I was doing. Just what the purpose of this all this stuff is I wanted to try and do collision detection. So let's detect some collisions. We got this code that I already wrote. We have is colliding, coordinates, sizes. We're gonna pull all the objects, sort or loop through them for each index, and set flags true when the coordinates are overlapping properly. And then we're gonna start. We're gonna return true if it's colliding, and that should signal us that hey, we can't do this. So we have a line printing whether or not these collisions are happening. I should probably cast these as an int, just to make the output cleaner. And then let's do a similar line over here. Let me see. Do I have? There we go. Net collision. Okay, so let's just do bool colliding equals, and we're gonna just put that function in there, and then colliding. It's gonna be just integer. Don't need to cast it anymore. Colliding. Let me check to see if I'm casting right. So see. I don't want this thing to try and, okay, I need to put parentheses around that. Because otherwise, it looks like I'm declaring a new object, and that's not what I want to try to do, and the compiler is just going to complain. Can I seriously not spell colliding? Is that... Oh, over here. Yeah. Yeah, there. Good call. Okay. Let's, is colliding. There we go. That's our function. We're going to pull that in over here. X, Y, and Z should be camera position next 0, 1, and 2. And the sizes, just to be conservative, I'm going to set to like 50 or 100 for now. Let's just try 100 for now and see if that plays well. And then this should just tell me whether or not I'm colliding, not actually try to stop me yet. Oh my goodness. Sigwin, I swear, every time. Oh, okay, I get real errors this time. What is this? Struct anonymous has no member .sx. Anonymous is colliding SX. Is SX... Did I forget to add stuff to the game object? Yes, I did. I need to set a position and a size. Or not a position, a scale for drawing. That's going to be SX, SY, and then SZ, and then size for hitboxes. It's going to be X size, Y size, Z size, and let's check to make sure that that's the way I wrote it. When I... See, that's going to be X size. Oh, I need to... See, this explains why stuff just was not working. I need to do something like this. Object.xsize to object.sx. And then replace that with y. Both counts. I have no idea how the program just wasn't throwing a fit trying to do that earlier. Oh, because that was... Oh, that was the input argument. That's why. Whoops. Well, that's easily fixable. (10 to 30 FPS). Okay, so that's definitely some dynamic engine adjustment there. I'm sure there's going to be like big rooms with a bunch of enemies that you just did not want to cooperate. Okay, let's try it again. Oh my goodness, seriously? What? Okay, what are you complaining about this time? Game object, line 80, SX is undeclared. What do you mean undeclared? Is it not part of the struct? Did I not add it to the struct, or did I... Oh, yeah. I tried to set a value to an uninitialized object. Okay, there we go. Wow, I did this just backwards. This is like drunk coding. Set scale. Scale 1. 1. 1. Size. -1 unless otherwise specified. Okay, you know what? Just set it default 64. I'll fix it later. Where's the struct? The struct needs to have this stuff in it. Otherwise, it's just going to complain more. See, I copied the code over, but I didn't do a complete job. Let's... there we go. Let's just copy these guys over and just make sure that everything is there that needs to be there. Oops. Okay, there we go. Sufficient. We can't really... Well, I mean, maybe we can, but I haven't had success trying to do that where I can just declare initial values in the struct. I don't think that works like that. Also, these should be integers, and the program doesn't know that yet. Okay. Game object should be properly set up. What about you? Okay, you're compiling. That's nice. Okay. It's saying I'm colliding with it. I should be far enough away where I don't think I am. If I go to the left a bit, I'm... Yep. It's definitely not... Whoa, okay, wait. Here. Out this far on the right, it's saying I'm not colliding, but this far on the left... Huh. If I go... let's go up. Nope, still says I'm colliding. Go down. Alright, yeah, down is positive. It's got a problem with negative numbers. I can already see that. So, what's up with that? Ew! Oh, I see what happened here. There needs to be an absolute value wrapping around... Where are we? Where is that thing? Where is that? Here! These guys, these three statements here. This needs an absolute value. Let's, where is the math? I know he replaced it with something. Let's see. It's got to be an ABS. JOABS. Of course. I mean, that's... Why wouldn't it be that? Okay. Here. Here and here. Thing is, it's still colliding when I'm very clearly much further away than that. Am I dividing by 2 with this thing, or what's going on? Size is set to 1, and then the actual scale, or sorry. Size is set to 64, and then the scale is set to 1 minus X size, and I'm inputting a pretty small number there. So, let's reduce the character size to 0. It's going to be a skinny line. Okay, maybe 0 is a bit much. Maybe 10. We have to get right up next to it to try and collide with it. It's detecting collision. It's a very tight fit. Very tight. I think I need to set the size a little bit bigger than 10. Like, I need to practically be overlapped with this guy in order to detect the collision. I think, it feels like the colliding's working, though. Or at least the logic for it is. Let's up this back up to 150. And set the camera target 200 away, and hopefully that won't break anything. So the camera target there is set to 200 away, default camera target. Default camera target, where are you? Oh, I think it's under display. It's set to 1 for reasons I can't figure out, but it gets automatically reset to whatever's 250 away according to the angle. So let me just set it to 200. All right. Let's see if that feels right. We have to get these numbers based off of feel. Hmm. Still feels like a bit of a tight fit. Because I can, yeah, here, I'm inside the box, or at least I'm visually inside the box. The collision's not setting it off. So, I have not put the code up on GitHub because I'm lazy, but I will do that either late tonight or early tomorrow morning. And then on the YouTube archive, you will be able to download it. So I'm going to go back in the descriptions and just put the GitHub link for everything, and it's going to be on the Twitch description as well. And each YouTube archive will have a comment number or comment code or whatever, so you can look up which comment was for which stream. Like, you know, by the time we got to the end, what did the code look like? It's going to have essentially the project folder for the JO engine, but you have to not commit. You know, freaking look up how to say it on GitHub or whatever. But essentially, you're going to need the JO engine anyway, so you have to download JO engine and slap the files inside of the project folder, which is how I'm working out of it. So you work at it just the way I am. Okay, so let's make that collision a little bit wider. I'm thinking 170 or so. Because I'm changing it on this end, and I'm not changing it on the end of the actual, Maybe I should make the box's collision 128. That's probably the problem. When I create a box... Here. Let's try to do this properly then. Game object, it's defaulting to 64. I'm going to make it 128, but here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to make size -1, so it doesn't check by default, and then I will just, when I create the actual object index. Nope, that's not where I definitely don't want to put it there. That's just going to destroy everything. Create object, there we go. We create an object that's going to increment number objects. So I'm going to do num object -1 dot x size, y size, z size. I really should just have these as arguments in this create object. Basically, it's a constructor. Every time I add a new thing, I just kind of do it in a dirty way, and I clean it up later. Let's see if that's going to do it. Oh, of course it's not. What is this? Oh, it's just Sigwin complaining. There we are. Absolute position is displayed on the screen right now. Seriously? Come on. Stop complaining and just run. So yeah, absolute position is displayed on the screen right now. Just as soon as the freaking code starts up, I'll show you. There we go. So we got the Saturn rack up. Oh, it's not? What happened to it? I must have deleted it or commented it out or something. Let me go back and re-add that in. It must... I don't know if it's commented out under display or not. Nope, it's not even there. So yeah, camera position should be displayed. Let me go back and stream one's thing and just steal that line of code, because it's there. So we have there, this guy, camera position, right under the top line of code. So we just have to copy that and paste it over where, not there, not, well, actually, yeah, there. There, just kind of make it line 1 instead. Then colliding text, that's going to be 2, 3. Change the game object colliding text to 2. There we go. Oh, whoops. I forgot I was still in Med-Defend focus. Oh, well. Okay, now we have camera position. There we go. I can move around, up, down. I still am bothered by the fact that going down goes up or whatever. Place the object. There we go. Not colliding, not colliding. Not... Okay, now I'm colliding. This feels like a bit much. But no, actually, that's a pretty decent distance. I feel like... Okay. If I'm 50 away... let's see. 100 away. I think 100 away is probably a decent threshold. So let's actually implement the collision instead of just displaying it. So first off, I think I feel 100 as a good oh wait, it's colliding. Oh, it's already doing 150. Okay, let me just bump it up just a touch. 160, 160. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to set the right collision numbers. I put it as... No, it's 128. Still wrong. What do you know? Do 160. Just bump it up just a touch, just so I feel better about it. And we're gonna set this as... set this if statement. So if... not colliding... we're going to actually change camera position, which is, in effect, our player position. So let's do that. Place the block. Okay, so we try to go forward. It's stopping us, guys! It's stopping us pretty far away, but it's stopping us. I feel like we can get closer. Probably get closer. Okay, so now let's adjust for feel. Actually, before I do that, let's make myself a little maze. I'm gonna do this guy over here, 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 and here's my exit. Okay, so okay, this is actually... Yeah, these guys... The collision is a little bit too restrictive. I need to be able to get closer. But the problem is, see that the polygon just kind of goes away when I stop looking at it directly head on, and that's what bothers me about the collision distance. Let's set the collision distance to 0, and hopefully things don't get crazy. Even not 0, 10. 10's a good number. Is colliding. Let's do 10, 10, 10. All right. Oh my goodness, Sigwin. Every time I try to compile. There we are. Okay, now I'm inside the block. That's not encouraging. Yeah, the thing is, the camera occlusion plane... So the camera has two planes. It has a far and a near... I don't think occlusion is the right word, but basically it's where it cuts off where to draw. And I need to make that plane basically right on top of where the camera is, so I can get right up close and personal with some of these objects without these guys just disappearing on me. Also, the second thing is I need to turn on backface culling, because I should not be able to see like any of these squares right now, just this guy. But yeah, okay. Let's Things right now, because I don't know how to set it so that the camera doesn't cut off that early. I'm making a trade-off between being able to get really close and having more accurate physical feel, and the camera not even displaying the polygons I want. So I think what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to go back into the documentation and see if there's a way to edit how the camera works. So the camera, go in the documentation. Oops, okay. Core, colors. It's probably 3D, but in case it's not. KO, malloc, map, math. It's probably 3D. 3D camera, I think it's 3D engine object. Yeah, there we go. 3D camera. Okay, we have a camera set viewpoint, camera set target, set Z angle, camera initialization, camera look at. I'm not sure if there's a way that I can see. Let me zoom in a bit so it's a little bit easier to read. I can't quite see anything here that will let the camera display something that's incredibly close to it. You know, as you know, like if you're in an FPS, you expect to be able to put your face right up to the wall and like see the wall. And these are all just normal translation rotation stuff. Let's see. Perspective angle. Okay, let's not mix with that. I don't want a field of view that's going to make me motion sick. So we got a target, a viewpoint, and a Z angle. That's a pretty simple struct. Is there something deeper in the engine that I need to play with in order to play with what's being drawn and what's not? Cube, vertex, table, plane. Okay. Warning, don't use it. Okay. Let's see. Initialize the camera default values. Look at the camera. What is... Oh, okay, yeah, we're already using that. It's just making sure that the camera is the one that's being used to render stuff. Okay, set where the scene is located. Set the viewpoint of the camera. Yeah, but the thing is, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, for the glitch where you can see through walls, it kind of makes sense when you're coming in at an angle and some stuff at the very edge of the camera is being clipped out. But the problem is, for me, it's happening when I'm just dead center looking at it. And that's because there's like a culling plane where between these two planes, things are not being rendered to save room. I think I can actually look up. Like there should be a drawing in here in this technical manual showing what's going on with the camera. I don't know if I can find it. Camera. I don't know if it's like occlusion plane or camera something or another. So here's some drawings of what's going on with the camera. I think I found something. So this technical manual is actually great about... Oh, my goodness. Okay, I just lost it. Come on. There we go. So here's like a light description of what's going on with the camera. Where they see, like, there's... You see the effects of viewing something at an angle. This projection surface. But what I'm trying to do, I remember there was something else. There is a maybe it's in the quick reference manual. Let me check real quick, because I know if I look in here, I'm probably going to find something that's going to say, aha, that's it. That's probably what I need to do. So if I... Here we go. Have the technical tutorial, which is slightly different. So if I look up where the camera is, there you go, section 6.1. How convenient. Can I just jump to section 6.1? Okay. Camera. There we are. So here, this is like the part that I try not to do on the stream, because this is basically homework. I have to go through these technical manuals to see what the Saturn can do and how I can mess with things to do it. And here they show actually example. They're not using JO Engine, obviously. They're using whatever Sega uses. But if basically with the diagrams that they supply here, at least that I thought they supplied here, show how the camera behaves. And I remember seeing, maybe not in here, but somewhere else where there's two planes that show, you know, here's the first plane over here, where behind that nothing gets shown, and here's the first plane, the second plane over here, where after that nothing gets shown. There's like clipping planes. Oh yeah, I think I did it at the beginning of the stream. I'll do it again. Here, these are these technical manuals for the Saturn. Obviously, if you're not working on the Saturn, these are just a bore, but if you're actually working on the Saturn, this is like required reading. Like I said, if something that requires a lot of in-depth homework in this thing, I don't want to try and do it on the stream because this is literally going to take all night of just me reading, and I'd rather be actively doing something. I'd be more inclined to end the stream early and actually try to figure out what I can do that's useful rather than try to spend the next few hours reading in front of you guys. So I've got collision technically down. There's no problem with collision itself. The problem is with the camera, which is a separate thing that would require some in-depth knowledge. I think I'm going to have to go on the forums and beg for help. XL2 and Johannes are probably going to have to help me. I'm not... Basically, the only thing I can really work on right now is logic stuff. So here, I can... We have the collision basically done. I could set the collision at a far enough distance where it's... Oh, there we go. See, I'm caught in the corner there. That's funny. I could set the distance so that it looks good, but then it won't act realistic. It'll act like a much bigger solid than it's actually being displayed. I'm not sure. Like, I think I might be ending this particular stream early because I've got collision down, but everything else that I wanted to do tonight turns out to be a lot of homework in terms of reading the manuals. The floor in the skybox thing, let me go through the JO engine real quick and just see if I can quickly implement that. I know what we can do. We can go look through some of the other code. So here. So if you recall during the first stream, if any of you were watching, oh, you know, okay. The numbers have been oscillating between like 2 and 10 all night, so I don't... Every time I look over, it's a different number, so... whoever's still watching. On the first stream, we went over to look at some of the other project files that came packaged with JO Engine to see how things ran. So if we have... here's my run with mednafin.bat. I'm going to make a run demo with mednafin.bat. So I can just point it to different objects and just run it. So, let's see. There we go. So this it's SLQ, this should be CD, and then we're just going to do... We're going to go up to here and then over to samples, and then I'm just gonna copy my file structure. There we go. And we're gonna see let's see, 3D. Let's do the 3D and just run the 3D demo and see what happens. Open that in a new window. Keep it background there, and then go back to my project folder. Just run the run demo with mednafin.bat. Oh, there we go. So this is the first 3D demo. 15 people. I didn't notice. Thing is, no one comments except for Skeletu, who I honestly no idea who that is, but if you're still here, thanks for watching. Skeletu corrected my spelling, but besides that, no one really comments. So if no one comments, I'm kind of monitoring OBS right now and not Twitch itself. So if you're not commenting, it's hard for me to notice. So I just kind of keep on droning. So here's a simple 3D demo. We have the sprite being blitted on screen. We have what appears to be a floor-like texture in the background. That's one of the textures I have access to. If we if we copy what he's doing here, I'm not sure if that's actually to service well, because it doesn't look like that's a real floor. That just looks like it's just a plain object. Like he's writing a polygon, or like a single quad on the screen. But let's take a look at it anyway. See what he's doing in his function there. So there's going to be a display function and a C function. Wait, that's my file. That's why. Okay, no. Here's his. I was about to say he has very similar code structure to me. No, everything's in his main function here. Let's just look at it. There we go. Cube, plane vertices. So I was trying to do this earlier. That's a lot more than I had. What's going on there? Okay. This line here and this line here are different than what I had before. I don't know if he's doing anything special to create this plane besides that. Let's see, translate matrix Y. Okay, that's just drawing the ghost. Okay, draw the floor. Push matrix, rotate -65. Okay, so the matrix. Okay, so the floor is rotated 65 degrees, but otherwise it's there. But the default size, I don't get it. I really don't. Hey, Birdie. Good to see you on stream. You missed it. We had 15 people while I wasn't looking, and I looked back, there were 3. Okay, so, here's one implementation of a floor, and it's literally just drawing a plane. And if I make that plane into an object, what I can do is I can assign it a non-zero collision vertically, and just make it like an infinite plane. Actually, now that I think about it, if I have -1, I should make it so that it defaults colliding unless all 3 are, and then it wouldn't be. No, that'd be confusing. I'll just make it size 0. So if you're on top of it, you're on top of it. All right. Well, yeah, the stream's been bouncing all over the place. I think people are just coming in from science and technology, taking a look at what I'm doing, and saying, hey, this is really niche. I don't care about the Sega Saturn. And they're leaving. Still technically game development, so, I mean, it's transferable. Like, I didn't know how to code the Sega Saturn a month ago. I just started. I just know how to do C, kind of, sort of, not really. My real-life job, I'm a scientist, and I do MATLAB all day. MATLAB and certain, proprietary software simulation stuff. I do mostly physical simulations, which the Saturn is not good for because it's not powerful enough to do active real-time physics. You have to remember that back, real-time physics was like a new thing back when freaking Half-Life was what came out. Oh, well, I mean, that'll probably get a few people in. Thanks, Shane. Okay. Well, I mean, XNA. Isn't XNA just mono game? Well, I mean, yeah, hardware limits. Hardware limits is what I'm talking about. The Sega Saturn is an old machine. So, yeah, you're not going to be able to do freaking Half-Life 2 on there where you have a seesaw and you can drop objects and they are affected by gravity and everything. Everything's going to be pretty static. If you play games from the time period, 96, even the PC games, you're noticing there's not going to be a lot of, or any physics. Like I said, when Half-Life 2 came out, that was a big thing. That they had those real-time physics things going on. That's why they did those physics puzzles, which, if you go play Half-Life 2 now, it doesn't look as impressive because you're used to graphics that are good, and the physics feel kind of gimmicky, actually. Which, I don't know, someone's probably gonna freaking crucify me for saying that because, it's Half-Life 2, but, it was a product of its time. It was really good for its time. Over a decade ago. Let's try 3D map. Here. We go over here, run demo with mednafin.bat. Oops, let's switch over. Yeah, it's the game design evolves with time, and back then that was how they did it. There was like, hey, let's put a vehicle in here. Let's force you to use the vehicle for 2 levels. Hey, we have this physics gimmick. Let's make you do a physics puzzle every 5 feet. Yeah, this is one of the demos. I'm gonna see. I like that he can take that polygon and just move it around all around like that. So I'm gonna steal that code lovingly for that attribution. Well, maybe some attribution, not a lot. Let's because I'm fairly certain that Wile E. Coyote graphic is from a Sega Genesis game or something. So he may or may not have the rights to that. I don't know. Let's see. So we got our... I need to close the old one before I start going crazy here. You got a camera, draw a map, and a sprite in 3D. So sprites are something I'm going to have to do later when I actually make some sprites. I'm not going to be able to do full 3D characters for everyone. It's going to be sprite-based. A lot of the RPGs on the Saturn actually look like that. Like, you look at Grandia or Shining Force or any of them, basically they're all sprite-based. Yeah, sorry. It's uncomfortable to watch. It's just a demo that you can rotate stuff and draw it. So, first off, where is the actual... Okay, so there's a koi, I assume, is a coyote. And brick, I assume, is the floor. So he's loading the sprites in. The map, wall.map. That's different. Linker address map. This is new to me. I don't know what this is. Let's open this up with... Oh, Visual Studio. Let's try to open that up with Notepad. Oh my goodness, what is this? I think this needs to be built by custom program ahead of time. That's why. Let's see. Load sprites, load map. Here's the thing: is the sprite is that wall thing that's rotating a sprite or a map? So let's look at the brick. This is the texture that he's using. You look at his code. Let's see. World map ID. Thing is, I don't even know. There's no game input in this code, so there's no real way to interact with it. I don't know what he means by map. Besides just load map. So this is definitely something that JO Engine supports, and there's probably a JO Engine map file that I have to go and play with. I haven't done that yet. I've been doing everything manually. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know if that's what I need to be doing. So that's what I'm saying. The skybox and the floor thing, that's going to require me probably spending a lot more time going into the documentation, not only for JO Engine, but also for probably Sega SGL library, and looking at how to do things properly. And I probably should have done the homework ahead of time this week, but really I was mostly worried about getting collision done and making sure it looked right. And it feels like it does. I can make this using the same logic here. Let's just close out of this for now. And this. And this. I'm already using that. So the logic I have here is colliding. Is basically a box-based collision. And I can just as easily make a circle-based collision just by... Or an elliptical collision just by saying check for a radius distance. Which everything gets checked at once. As far as making a floor, that's going to require probably doing something similar to what he's doing, which is, like you said, that mapping that single texture on repeat for a big, basically a tiled texture over a large quad. And the skybox similarly is going to be like making a massive circle usually, or a semicircle at least, and tiling textures on it to make it look like, you know, the sky. Um, I'm thinking about cutting this one off early, just so I need time to do some more homework. Really, I got collisions down, but I don't have. I need to do more work on textures, on how to manipulate the camera, and so that next time when we're on stream, we can do something more interesting. Uh, because, like I said, basically everything that I'm trying to do today devolves down into me going over to this website over here and looking up different documentation over here, and then going to the Joe Engines documentation, looking up documentation over here, and figuring out how to do stuff. And I'd rather be working on the logic of stuff, where like, okay, here's how you do collisions, here's how you do enemy logic, that kind of stuff, rather than here's the specific way this engine was built in order to implement this, which is, I think, probably more boring and more not as transferable. Like the stuff I work on here, I try to make it more transferable. Like you see me working on a Saturn, but you can use the same techniques to work on anything really. Uh, you know, you can use the same techniques I'm using to try and build a basic platformer on the freaking, you know, TI-83. But I don't want to spend the whole time looking up data structures and saying, okay, let's try fixing the camera this way. That's not working. Try fixing the camera that way. That's not working. I'd rather say, okay, let's try to build a level. Let's try to get collision working. Let's try to make bullets work. Let's try to make sword swings work. So yeah, I'm sorry to all the 5 people. Like this number is crazy. It keeps going up and down. I can't keep track of it. The 5 people on the stream, I think I'm giving up for now. I've got collisions down. Let's sum up while I've got this game running and not broken. So we're 3 streams in. I mean, it's more like 2.5, because the last 2 streams like 4.5 hours of me just struggling with stuff, but it felt good. And this time it's just me not knowing exactly how the engine works in a way that I need to know how it works. But now we've got, here's an object. We can create object. We can destroy it. Let's put it back again. We can move around, up, or back, forward, left, right, up, down. We can, oh, there we go. There's the object collision. The problem that I was saying earlier, and that you can see right here, is that the camera is not quite detecting when to start and stop drawing things. And I also need to implement the backface culling, so I'm not drawing textures I don't need to be drawing at the time. But that's about where we're at right now. And unless you know, one of you guys wants to see something specific that I think I can do tonight, because we got time. I just don't want to turn this into you know, watch me read documentation all night. So does anyone have any ideas for anything else they'd like to see implemented? Just like maybe we can make the object move, or maybe we can implement basic health bars or something. I don't know. Because if not, we can go ahead and just close up the stream for now. So I know it's a short stream, but next weekend, Friday night, I think, let's try for maybe 7 or 8 o'clock. Friday is going to be my birthday, and I want to try and do an extended stream where I do something actually interesting. I think next stream, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I think sometime during this week, or weekend, I'm going to try and figure out these problems with the cameras, figure out how to do a floor and skybox away from the stream, so that we have something basic set up, because these are really problems that require homework. And then for that extended birthday stream that I'm going to be doing next Friday at 8 o'clock, let's go ahead and put that on the schedule. I will be going as long as I can, just trying to implement basic RPG features. Sword swings, enemy health, maybe a little bit of enemy AI, where these just like charging, attacking you or something. I don't know what you guys think about that. No one's on, no one's talking on chat, so I just kind of have to guess. Yeah, I really should have a stream schedule. I don't know. Can I do like a Google Calendar thing? Because that would probably be the best. Because everything's kind of tied into the Emerald Nova Google account. The YouTube is, the email, etc. As soon as what I have to do enough homework where I know what I have to do. Even if I haven't done it yet, I need to know what I need to do. Yeah, the coding portion. So I need to do homework to read how anything even works, so that I know what I have to do, and then when I go to actually do it, I will I will implement it on stream as like a mini stream or something like that, or maybe I'll do it as part of the birthday stream. I don't know. The point is, I just have to do the homework. I have to do some reading, a lot of reading probably, a lot of documentation review, a lot of forum posts. Well, if no one has any ideas, I'm gonna close up the stream. Birthday stream is gonna be Friday, 8 o'clock. I will collaborate with Shane to try and get a schedule up on the Twitch, and see if I can't get also get that schedule up on the YouTube, and also get the schedule up on the Twitter. All those links should be in the Twitch panel down there. If you're watching on YouTube, it's going to be in the description. And if you're on Twitter, well, I mean, that space is limited, so just kind of go to Twitch or YouTube and then figure it out from there. I guess I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, I get a few people for my birthday to come say something. I'm hoping that those 15 people that were on earlier won't primarily bots. I'll see you next time.